is kind of far-fetched, right?
Yeah.
This gentleman over here was in class of 1984, and he came to the show, and I met him, and it was so great, because you almost feel, because we were being treated so badly in that film too, you feel like it's like a family member that we were both abused, and you go, oh, remember this? You know, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, like trauma bonds.
And, but yeah, we're there. We're there.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have a friend, and he's a professor at Berkeley, and he told me this about 10 years ago, that he had a student that came in and said, if you don't give me an A, I'm going to sue you.
Jeez.
Yeah, everybody's afraid.
Yeah, and I think they just wield a certain power, like maybe not as violent, but I've heard from friends who are teachers, like everybody needs an accommodation. It's very different. Like, either that or I'll go get my lawyer.
Yeah, I have a cousin, he was an NHL player, now he coaches in Europe, Doug Shen. He goes, oh, Lisa, I'm reading all these books on the millennials. They're so hard to coach. They're so sensitive. Yeah, everything's an accommodation.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And actually, I love your character in Class of '84. Like, she's terrifying, but like also the style is very interesting. Like, where did the inspiration come? Either like from like what you brought to it, and also the style. Like, how did that all come together?
That makeup did not come from me, and nor did the hair. And there was a real scary moment for me shooting that, because that was a time when punk rockers were just wearing black and white. There were no colors, and they actually hired real punk rockers to be the extras. And these girls came up to me and they said, you're not a real punker. Like,
yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, and they said, we're going to get you when no one's around. So I don't have my 4 big brothers from Dundas, Ontario. So I just thought, I know where they're going to get me. They're going to get me in the slam dance scene where, teenage head is playing. So I can't believe I got away with this, because Mark didn't notice. And the first AD, that's their job, to make sure you're on the set and ready to shoot. And I hid. So no one saw me, and if you watch that film, Patsy is not in that scene, because I knew they were going to get me during the crowd scene. I knew they'd get me. And nowadays, I'm so much more experienced that I would have just gone to the AD to say, hey, I'm going to shoot this, but you're going to have somebody next to me for security. Yeah. But I was young, and I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, got scary punk.
I didn't have my big brothers with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what did you draw on, like, cause she's so like kind of a snarky character and just so like kind of out there. Like, how did you bring that out of the character?
I just thought of how to make everything sexualized.
Okay.
And that everything, how do I make everything perverse? That anything that happens, seeing somebody get beat up, that makes me dance. On the other hand, too, I just had to think of what to do, because Terry Leonard, the stunt person, again, this gentleman over here, we got to bring you on in a second, because he's got a lot of stories.
Okay.
That guy's got a lot of stories that I did not know about. And why don't you come sit here?
Come join us.
Yeah. And he, because he was in scenes that I wasn't. Okay, he played. He was a gang member, right? He'll tell us his stories in a second. So, because the reason I mention this is because he did work with Terry Leonard, who was this iconic stunt coordinator. He was the guy that in Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they had that stagecoach, he was a guy under. Wow. Yeah, he was way under it. What was unfortunate for me is he gave me nothing to do in any of the scenes. I'm a gang member and I don't fight.
Yeah.
So anyway, and this is where you're going to come and talk about it now. So that that scene where they're fighting underneath the Gardner Expressway. So again, they didn't give me anything to do, but this time I just thought I'm going to go with this because it was so cold and rainy outside. And so then they did the scene outside, and I just stayed in my trailer and I read Shelley Winter's autobiography. Great actress. So tell them about that scene under the Gardner Expressway.
I got my inspiration from the Warriors.
Well, introduce yourself first.
Roy T. Anderson. And this is where I got my break, Class of '84. It's my first film. And I'm still doing it to this day.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. So, like I said,
before they were casting black people, right?
Before they were casting black people. And the funny thing is, how I got onto Class of '84, a good buddy of mine, he got casted as Leroy in the film.
The tough
Yeah.
Explain
I
who
like this.
Leroy is.
Yeah, Leroy was the guy who your gang antagonized, the short black guy.
Okay.
Right? You know, you wanted to be tough, but you guys showed him who was the boss of that.
It's like it would be
school.
so politically incorrect right now for the white people to be
Right.
terrorizing the black people. Really, it was just such a fantasy because they could take us down in no time.
And then even just the dialogue. I mean, I was lucky
yeah.
enough to be casted as my name was Leroy's buddy. So you know.
Yeah, his name's Leroy. Yeah.
Right. So you know, I drew my inspiration again from a lot of American shows and the dialogue. Hey man, leave my friend Leroy alone, and you know all that kind of stuff. So I look at it to this day, I'm saying, oh my God, look at me. But you know, it was an amazing experience. You know, my friend called me down and told me that they were looking for, you know, extras. I said, what the hell is an extra? I said, we just need some people to walk in the background when they're filming. And I remember to this day I got.
And also, there weren't a lot of black people in Toronto anyway in those
There
days,
were,
right?
yes, but I mean, we're
So it's like we need some extras, but we need black extras.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Because
So-
it's an American picture. We need to, yeah.
And funny enough, I mean, I didn't know who Terry Leonard was when I started on that picture.
Wow.
Had I known, I probably wouldn't have gone down there to audition for a part. Because, I mean, this guy was just legendary,
Yeah.
right? And you know, I tell folks this is the first time I ever worked on a movie set where if you didn't know what to do, they trained you up. So we had like a 2-week training camp where they taught us how to throw punches, you know, fall off tables and things like that. I actually got paid for it. Yes.
Who did
Yeah.
that? I'd like to take that
We
class.
actually got paid for it. And
Oh. Is
also-
that for class of 1984? They had a
this
training
was for
camp?
class of '84, yes. You know, Terry Leonard.
Maybe
and
that's
his-
why you didn't have me do anything. 'Cause I
Yeah.
didn't get invited to the training camp.
Right, so him and his assistant Bobby Hanna, who was
Bobby
on
Hanna, this here's what's sad too. He was this iconic stunt coordinator, and there's no reason. This would happen to Canadians all the time. They're very competent, so much experience, and I thought it was an insult that they bring the American in, and then the Canadian gets to be like the assistant.
Yes. And they still do that to this day. And as a matter of fact, I think there's a
Did the stunt
clause in the
people still do that?
contract.
Are you saying they still do it for everything, or just the
American productions, big American productions that come up here.
for every department? They're doing
No,
that?
no, not for every department.
Just for stunt?
I think for stunts,
Stunt
maybe.
coordinators are usually.
So what they call
Well, we're
them-
talking to somebody over here who's an actor who's also an agent in Toronto. You should come
Right.
up too. Because we all have our war stories,
Yeah.
and we all have been involved with these films. Yeah.
Yes.
And with a different perspective. That's why I
Yeah.
invite them up, because
Yeah, it's
we got a
good.
lot of time to talk, and you know, they can say something new that I don't know.
Yeah, you've seen different sides of it.
That's
really,
right.
Yeah.
And class of '84 was what gave me. I didn't like really dive into stunts right away, but that was sort of like my anchor, my training ground.
Okay.
That even today I look back at it, and you know, one of my strengths in the industry is just doing fight scenes and also coordinating fight scenes. That is one of my strong suits. So I've been able to just make a name for myself. You know.
Yeah.
You know, starting in '93, you know, coordinating, you know, other pictures. So I look back at 1984, you know, class of '84 with fond memories.
Yeah, definitely
really
have to
do.
I'm glad to hear that.
provide.
I'm
It's
really
funny,
glad to
yeah.
hear that. Yes, it is funny to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that end scene was spectacular with Tim Van Patten falling through the glass.
Yeah.
That was spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah, and that catwalk apparently really exists. And so I've also through my friend Greg Gilbert, who has his own podcast, Python's Paradise. He introduced me to this guy named Sean Clark, who's here, and he's reps a lot of talent for these conventions. And he's doing this holographic film where he's toured all the locations for Class of 1984.
No way.
And he was missing about 2 or 3, and this is where this gentleman came in again and revealed something along with this gentleman, some locations that he couldn't find. So one of them was, where is that location that where Marilyn Ross and Perry King are walking along the water. We know the water's Lake Ontario, okay?
Yeah.
Not a big thing. It's rocks with silos in the background. And this gentleman, he wins the award because he goes, I can tell you that right away. Okay, where?
Curtis Park.
Yeah, and then he also said, where is the club?
Yeah.
Government.
That was the government.
Yeah, so he was like this expert that just happened to saunter up to the table, and I said, you need to talk to Sean Clark. And so then the other one he couldn't figure out was the bathroom in the school. And I was able to say this because I remember, the only reason I was able to say this is because Tim and Pat were saying, this is good trivia, that scene where he's with the teacher and he goes up and runs into the mirror and says, oh look, you hurt me, which is entitlement. That's like early, we see kids doing with teachers.
That was pre-Twitter.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. so he said, oh, Lisa, we're at this place like this. It's like the CNE, because Americans haven't heard of the CNE. And he was in this bathroom, and I'm having to run up and hit my face against the mirror, and he goes, it wouldn't break because I had to keep doing it. So anyway, that's one of the things he said, I know that's not the bathroom in the school, because that's not a bathroom that would be in the school. The way it was set up, the outside, I found it. And I said, the CNE, that could be, one building, it could be where they have the animals, but then this gentleman said, he thought it was not the Coca-Cola building, what did you say?
Automotive building?
Yeah, we think it's
the front.
Cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
it could have been what was the horticultural building.
That's what I was trying to think of, like
Yeah,
where all the
where the
where the animals
Royal
are.
Winter Fair.
Yeah.
Where the Royal Winter Fair was.
The Gushers there.
Now,
I went to the Royal Winter Fair for the first time 3 years ago, and I want to go every year now. It's fantastic.
Fun,
yeah.
I used to work on the X-Grounds, and I'd be walking just to work, and there'd be like a herd of cows being walked through at the same time. Like, what's happening?
Well, that's what happens when you go to India. I've been there. Yeah, I got to tell the story because it's great. So I went there in 1990, and it must be different now because now there's cell phones. I can't believe I did that trip without a cell phone or internet. How did I get around? But anyway, so we get to, I think, Hyderabad, and my mother was like a lot older, and she had to go to the bathroom, and I didn't want to go to any public bathrooms if I could avoid it. And this was going to be really public because it was like we arrived and there was a bathroom at the train station. I said, no, you go. I don't want to go to the bathroom at the train station. So she comes back, and I said, how was it? She was okay. She said I had to move push a cow away to get into the stall. Because they're honored, right? So they meander everywhere there. They can go anywhere they want because they're revered. That's a cultural experience.
Yeah, that's something you don't know. And then you'd walk in and be like, oh, is this a wrong stall?
That happens to me now because it's like, is it unisex or have I gone into the wrong stall? Like that happened to be actually at this convention where I walked into one, and there's a guy at the urinal, and it took me a minute not to leave because now they can have unisex ones, right? And so I walked out to check the side to see whether it's unisex, and it's a learning curve now again with all this.
Like, where are we going?
Cultural appropriation and using the proper terms and. So I walked into the wrong bathroom, and I thought I could be in the right bathroom. You never know now.
Yeah, I've seen it happen where it is a unisex washroom, and then I'll be washing my hands at a guy walking and be like, I'm in the wrong place. No, everyone could be here, but it's still we're still in those columns.
Yeah,
it's tricky to see. You don't want to be embarrassed.
Like even if the guy's at the urinal, it could be unisex. So
yeah, you never know.